All right, and thank you for tuning into this Brew Happy Radio Show. I'm your host, Damian DeBiser, as the voice of beer. And with me, as always, is JP, the champion.
There we go, smoking. Hey, there, finally, I made it there.
And we got DJ Fitzmagic on the board.
Hi. How's it going?
Doing good. How's everybody sounding today?
It's rainy.
It is rainy outside.
It is rainy.
Just recently, though.
in the last literally 20 minutes. Those clouds have been looming, and then in the last hour and a half, they just slowly worked their way across the entire sky, and then now it just started dumping rain.
Oh, yeah.
But good. Everyone sounds good. Everyone looks good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's raining in Portland because we're not there
That's
this
right.
week. We are in Vancouver, just across the river.
The cuvee.
And we are at an undisclosed location that will be soon to be disclosed. Oh, super secret tap house, but not for very long.
Well, it's not even a super secret.
Not really.
There's
It's not open yet.
It's just not really a thing. There's no signage. There's no patrons. There's only one beer.
But there's a beautiful bar.
I was saying to our special guest that I was like, I think this is this is not changed since it was originally put in, because I don't think
This might be the same bar from back when it was Salmon Creek.
That's entirely possible, and it also looks like these coolers down here have not changed in over a decade.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
probably gotten fixed over the years.
Oh yeah. But there's it's a beautiful spot. This is going to
is.
be a really fun location to drink beer at, because this is going to be the new Brothers Cascadia tap room.
Right.
That's right.
I'm so excited. And formerly of Mav's Tap House, now has a new location off 4th Plain, which took over Liquid Gold, which is actually a really great location as well.
Yeah.
They've done a lot for the Vancouver beer scene by just having a nice selection and bottle service. And
all moves that we've been talking about for the last few weeks on the show, and we are really proud to be here at Cascadia Brothers with Jason.
It's Brothers.
Sorry.
It's not Super Mario Brothers.
I know. I want to say Super Mario Brothers.
Super Cascadia Brothers.
Cascadia Brothers.
There's a beer to make, Jason.
With one of the Cascadia Brothers himself, Jason Bose.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Good.
Did we say that right? Vose?
Boss, but
Boss.
man,
Jason
I've heard it
Boss.
every
Yeah.
The boss.
Maybe not the boss.
Oh, okay.
I don't like the acronym boss.
No.
Does
Does it remind you of Bruce Springsteen?
No, it stands for double SOB backwards.
Oh.
I said that to my boss one time years and years ago, and he was like, ha ha ha. Oh, what the fuck? And I was like, bye, I quit.
Uh-oh.
That's
All right.
exactly how that happened. Anyway, we're not.
Yeah, we are here at Brothers Cascadia, and this is a really great brewery that started back in 2017 on Father's Day weekend, no less. I heard.
That's when we celebrate. Yeah, our grand opening was Father's Day weekend,
And you guys had a pig roast.
and we've had a pig roast most years. Just kind of celebrating that every Father's Day weekend. It's kind of a good time to celebrate, our anniversary, and then just
Celebrate the
have other
dads.
people. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, that's pretty
Most
cool.
dads like beer, so that really works out.
Yeah, and we got Mother's Day approaching, which I keep being reminded by my phone, as well as my fiance and my mom, of course. And Mom,
know
if
what
you're
this
listening,
weekend is.
I promise I'm going to get something into the mail to you this year. I'm so sorry. I love you. I'm a terrible son.
Jesus. But yeah, we are here at the new location right off of Evergreen here in downtown Vancouver. This is a really great spot for you guys because there's just so much happening. And not that you're far away with your main location up in Hazeldale, but being here where there's so much happening with the waterfront, breweries are growing. You have such names like Trapdoor down here. You have Lewitt, who has been a staple in Vancouver forever. This is a great time for you guys to be kind of at the epicenter of Vancouver's beer growth. And as far as North Bank is concerned, we always, challenge people to stay on the North Bank of beer, which is the Washington Southwest side. But, this is great. How do you feel?
Yeah, we're super excited. Like this is kind of like just one of those next steps. We got the brewery kind of going and are feeling good about that. And second location was kind of the next thing for us. I think it was very obvious that was something that we wanted to do as soon as we could. And downtown Vancouver just made sense.
How long have you guys been hunting around?
Like unofficially since we start, since before we opened the first one. You're always like looking, but No, like right before COVID, actually. We came close a couple of times before COVID, and then kind of thank goodness that didn't like come to fruition.
Yeah.
Then, of course, for the first like couple of years through COVID, we really like took it easy. And then
everybody had to.
Yeah, and then once things started feeling good again, and we're like, okay, we can like start focusing on like growth. Next thing was second location, and downtown Vancouver has always been like one of our top like places that we would love to open a second location. So this is just perfect.
It is perfect.
The only other thing that I can think for you guys, especially with the atmosphere and the style of beers, is that they've got this collective happening out in the Kamis-Washougal area. That would probably be the only other place I could see, because we've got the new, you've got 5440, you've got the Grains of Wrath is right there. I mean, there's Trapdoor now out there. Doomsday Original out there.
It seems like somebody should probably put together a beer crawl for downtown Vancouver. I wonder who could do something like that.
I wonder who could do it. You know what? I think the person to talk to would probably be Michael Perozzo of Zeppelin Media.
Oh, okay.
A beer media tour.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'll talk to him about putting one of those together.
The Brew Happy Beer Media Tour.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Zeppelin.
Yeah. Exactly. Why not?
Well, that sounds like we have to make that happen sooner than later.
I've been writing again. It sounds like a plan.
Start putting checks in the mail, buddy.
Well, his brewery they're just going to be right down the road. So
yeah. So they're literally
they
just
can
going to
be in on it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Makes sense. New what do they call it? The little Vice Shop. I think that's called that. They're calling it Vice Shop.
Vice Shop.
Something's just. I mean, because it's just a small little place they have just down the road. It's not like they're. I mean, I think it's slightly smaller than their actual location.
It's really exciting to see how Vancouver has blossomed over the years. I mean, I remember when we first started covering Vancouver events.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, it was kind of sporadic, the breweries and the events and things. And then the Vancouver Brew Fest became a regular staple for us. And I
remember when Trapdoor first went in. And
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. That's cool. A brewery. And I don't think I was as inundated and cared about how much beer meant to this community.
You just weren't as brew happy yet.
Yeah, and then John, I think John was probably one of the you were probably the first person to go there religiously for a whole 3 months straight.
Oh, because of COVID?
No, because they were just cranking out great beers,
Yes, they were.
great IPAs, and you're like, we gotta get over there, and then we were like, yeah, okay, and then I think when they started really pushing the beers, I was like, okay, never mind. I'm an idiot. This is great. And it's just been, I think, one of the benchmarks for the entire main street of downtown Vancouver, because so much production and movement happens. Thirsty Sasquatch, I mean, that has been a life changer as well. That's been crazy to watch.
Yeah. But this is an awesome location. We're looking forward to talking all about it in the second half after the break, and we're going to find out a little bit about what's going on in some of the extension space across the patio area here, and some fun stuff that Jason has planned in the back that I think, Ryan, you are going to be very interested in.
Fantastic! I can't wait to hear more about that. But I want to talk about
the beers that we have on the table.
The beers that we have on the table, because
they're really good.
There's one tap, and then Jason has some cans here, but they're not quite ready. They're not quite open.
Yeah.
But he's prepping. So what are we drinking, Jason? What's on tap?
The beer that's on tap is our Hellas Lager.
And it is delicious.
It's one of my favorite beers.
It's solid. It's a solid Hellas. You should have gone with that, but I understand why you went with what you went with.
I went with the Mexican lager.
The Oyo Como Va.
Oh yeah. Como Va.
It's got some lime in it, doesn't it?
Yeah. This one. Yeah, that's actually what I'm drinking too. But yeah,
is it?
Mexican lager with a little hint of lime in it, just to kind of just take that edge off and make it. Yeah.
It brings out my inner Floridian.
Yeah.
We're not going to squeeze the lime for you in every glass, but we'll do it in the whole batch.
Okay, there you go.
Now, that beer you guys made, I want to say it was last year for the Collabuary. Is that correct?
Yeah, last year or maybe the year before that.
One or the other, but not this current year's.
No.
It was either last year or the year before. But
yeah, with our buddies over at Heathen, they're just like a mile up the road.
And they do love their take on anything that has some lime or citrus in it. So I can see why that was one of their picks. But yeah, and I think there's some other beers that you guys still make today that were a part of your guys' collaborative event, which we're going to get into here in a bit of the show. But I think that's just really fun that you guys have not only done those collaborations, but then like, yeah, this is a great beer. We're going to make this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It always sucks to like feel like maybe that beer's not going to come back when you make a collaboration beer or a seasonal one-off, and then. But if people dig it and, it's just like, oh, man, it's great to just bring it back.
There you go. Well, we're going to get into that here in just a minute. But first,
what?
You got to thank some people.
We do have to thank some people.
We don't do this just for us.
That's right. We do it for you out there, the listeners, the beer fans, the cider fans, and all you other brew happy folks out there. And if you want to help support the show, you can always contact us at patreon.com/brewhappy. For as little as $1, you can help support the show. It helps us with our bar tab, swapping out SD cards, memory cards, cables, and microphones and other equipment that we burn through over the years. And
it's a lot sometimes.
Yeah, and for $5 or more, we'll start sending you T-shirts and postcards and stickers from all of our adventures that you hear on the show.
And if you slip me a 20,
that's
a different show.
You'd have to be local for that. But Ryan will like massage your temples and your shoulders and
just the feet.
Oh no, I was still talking about your glamour Fabio shot. That's how much it's gonna go for now.
How long are we gonna talk about the Fabio shot?
Till it becomes a dead horse.
Oh, hey, I got great hair. I'm not gonna be ashamed of that.
No, this is from a decade ago. When you were modeling.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like to do that.
This is pre beer baby belly.
I had to take advantage of my youth when I had it.
You did. It was a short time.
Oh, thanks.
About 10 years.
Yeah, you're right after me, buddy.
Yeah. But I still don't look like you, so that makes it better for me.
Me too. It would really confuse our ladies. Well, beer fans, thank you again so much for tuning into the show. You can always reach out to us on social media and let us know what you're drinking, where you're drinking, and what you love about that brew so much and why it makes you happy. We are interested. The rest of the beer fans out there in the Brewiverse are interested.
We are interested.
Yeah, and it might lead
We've come to take over your planet.
It might lead to a cool conversation on the show in the future.
True. We do have some cool conversations.
Yeah,
with cool people who usually are somewhere around beer, making it, writing about it, drinking it. So it's nice. Okay. Unicorn medal.
Okay, that's a thing?
Google it.
Okay.
Let's take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Jason Bass from Brothers Cascadia here at their new location in downtown Vancouver.
That's right.
And we have some brew news. I think John is going to try and make us drink whiskey.
Yeah, we had a full weekend.
We're going to find out.
We're going to talk about that too.
You did a lot. Again.
Yeah.
Busy guy.
That's right. What's his soccer game?
Oh, we'll talk about that too. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. Ladies love Brew Happy. How about you?
Jen. Jeremy. Brew Happy.
This is Casey Helwig with Imperial Yeast, and you're listening to the Brew Happy Show.
This is Terry. I'm the founder of Pink Boot Society, and I'd like to invite all the women beer professionals out there to give Pink Boot Society a chance and get yourself involved. It's a great way to support Pink Boots and women in the beer industry with scholarships. Beer's an awesome thing, and the more women we can get into it, the more we're going to party.
This is Michael Perozzo
and Cameron Johnson
from Vice Beer,
and you're listening to the Brew Happy Show.
John, I need more beer.
Smoke it.
Welcome back. This is the Brew Happy Podcast, and you are listening to us as we talk about beer. Hopefully you're drinking a beer. If you're not, you should grab one right now before we get into this awesome conversation with Jason Boss, Brothers Cascadia Brewing.
Yeah. Jason, thank you again so much for having us here at your soon-to-be new space and taking time out of your busy brewing schedule to get your brew on with us here.
Yeah, you got it, man.
You're the head brewer and co-owner.
Co-owner, formerly head brewer.
Okay.
I held that title up until maybe, I don't know, like a year ago.
Okay.
Somewhat recently.
All right.
But we've got Eric Van Tassel now, formerly of Barlow's, Fatheads. And so he's now kind of taken that from me, and I can focus more on
selling the
operations beer. And
that's great.
Stuff like this.
And then you got Richard and Sherman Gore. And
Yep. They started Brothers Cascadia with me way back when, and Sherman's parents' garage, homebrewing beer.
That's awesome. And now, how did you? So you guys brewed just like started homebrewing?
Yeah.
Is that how this all started?
Yeah, we all worked at Laurelwood together.
Wow.
Back and actually out in Battleground. And,
that's amazing.
Yeah, just like on wait staff, like bartending, serving, expediting, washing dishes, like whatever.
Yeah.
And
I remember that location, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And actually, it was so Sherman was actually on a mission to start a brewery back then. Mm-hmm. And Richard and I had gotten the beer bug, but we're just planning on starting a tap room. We were inspired by By the Bottle, which is basically the location that we're sitting in. And then there were very few other examples. Most of them were in Portland, but of like beer-focused places. So that was the plan. And then at one point in time, Sherman is over at Richard and my house. We're just having a couple of beers, and he's like, "Dude, we should just do this together. Don't you think? Like, just combine our forces here."
Team up.
Had he already had a beer when he said that? He's like, let's just do this together.
Yes. Some of the best laid, some of the best laid
tequila.
plans are
Tequila.
made over a beer.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That sounds way cooler. So let's do that.
Nice.
And then we started. Sherman was already homebrewing, and so kind of got Richard and I into it. And then that was like years before we even started like commercially brewing and then opening Brothers Cascadia.
Now,
that was like the impetus.
Did you guys do any gypsy brewing beforehand, or was it just like, we're going to homebrew until we have enough money and then we're just going to make a thing?
Sort of, yeah. So we homebrewed, and then so we were working for Laurelwood and at that Battleground location, and they ended up selling that Battleground location, and it's now Northwood Public House and Brewery. And so when it sold, that the guy who bought it, Eric, who's still like a dear friend and like business mentor of ours, he had this like tiny little nano brewery, a 2-barrel system, couple fermenters, and some people told him like, hey, you got some people on your staff that you just acquired who are trying to start their own brewery. They might brew on that for you for a little bit. We ended up brewing on it for like 2 years for him, while we were on, the bar staff and whatnot.
Wow.
We would then we would close up shop, close the bar down, mop everything down, and then we would start mashing in at like 11, 12 p.m.
Oh,
Perfect.
God.
Yeah.
Just that's a tough day.
And then, and just do the whole brew and then be done before, like, the morning prep guys would get in, so we weren't in anybody's way.
Was there ever a time where you guys were working those late hours and your back sore and you're just bone tired and you're like, oh, man, I don't know, man.
No, because they were young then.
Yo, man, that's what I was about to say. I look back
beer.
on it. Yeah, it's like, exactly. It's like we probably had a beer too.
Yeah,
we
while
were
you're
young.
working.
Yeah.
Man, it was...
no need to bring age into this, Ryan.
You got adrenaline.
Yeah, I look back on it nostalgically. I think it was
of course,
kind of cool. Just like kind of hustling to make sure we had a stuck mash. Like hopefully we're not still here when the lunch crowd starts getting in.
Right.
Now you actually went to school to be a firefighter. I understand.
Oh yeah. So that's actually how I know Richard. One of my business partners is we did it like a high school firefighting program that just takes you through your junior and senior year.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then
Which high school?
So I went to Prairie and he went to Battleground.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and then that guy is like, like into that, and then so both him and I went to college together. We ended up becoming college roommates together.
What college?
Lower Columbia College out in Longview. They have a fire science program, so we both got our associate's degree in basically firefighting and volunteered for a number of years. And then at some point in time, started working in restaurants to kind of help supplement, as, we weren't like full-time, full-fledged firefighters at that moment. And then, ended up getting bit by the beer bug and ended up opening a brewery, and
it's amazing.
Here we stand now.
It sounds, although it's a story that I don't think we've ever heard in those specific ways, but it's a story that's so familiar because it just is like, oh yeah, well I was going to law school and then I started making beer and didn't stop. And you're like, what the hell? You did what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to be a doctor. Now I make beer. I was going to be a firefighter. Now
A
I make beer.
microbiologist.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah. I was going to be a policeman.
I was going to be an
wanted
Olympic athlete.
wanted to make
and-
beer.
Yeah.
When did Brothers Cascadia open?
2017, yeah. Now, you guys are known widely for lagers and IPAs and a fair amount of barrel aging with mixed culture sours and especially your Chromatic series. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the Chromatic series was basically, there's something that we're just like focusing on barrel aged beers, and it's just like a moniker that we wanted to have for those beers. They were specifically like the bottled versions of those.
Right.
And
Wow.
so we had anything from your like clean barrel aged stouts to mostly mixed culture, if not some area of wild beer in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that the first, I want to say, just because I remember them so very distinctly, but the very first year you guys released the Chromatic series, I want to say it was 2019 or 18.
Yeah, it was early.
It was after you had opened for a while, and I remember that first batch was just phenomenal, and I was like, oh, okay. No one's doing it kind of like this, but they are, because everyone has got their take on their own, the wild ferment and things like that, and having those fun beers. But the flavors were just so profound and so well described. When I think I remember sitting in on when you guys did the release party and just going, oh yeah, okay, I taste that. That's fun. So yeah, kudos to you guys, because that first batch was probably my favorite of you guys doing it. So. Delicious, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's fun to see. That's kind of touches on something I've been noticing lately. Just kind of, I'm a fixed asset at the brewery, but we've had a few different kind of brewers kind of come in and out of our brewery, and you kind of look back on certain eras of the brewery. It's just like, oh man, that's when we had all of these people around, or that's when these people were around.
Yeah.
And I look back on that time, and it's just those folks that were around back then, and they knew who they are, but. Is oh man, that's when that stuff was we paid some really special love to those barrels or those kegs or whatever,
What's been some of your favorite beers starting out to kind of get to know as you were brewing, even back as far as home brewing? Were there any styles that you kind of latched onto that you're like, yes, I love making this kind of beer, I can't wait?
Yeah. For me personally, it was when we first started, I was really bit by the mixed culture barrel aged bug. That was my jam. I spent a lot of my time thinking about that. Even though it was such a small portion of the beer we're gonna make.
That can be that can get pretty complicated.
I really got into it, and I really geeked out on it. It was really, really fun.
Wow.
And I still love that stuff. Definitely started transitioning a couple of years ago, and it's just man, the lager world is really entertaining me. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then honestly, up until very recently, I started getting burnt out on super hoppy beers. Love the way they taste, but maybe not gonna drink a 4-pack like I used to.
Right.
But then lately just been kind of reinvigorated. Man, some of these hop products that we're getting to play with, new varieties of hops that are particularly touching to me, it's just been really fun in the last year.
Yeah. So as your tastes have evolved, so has your brewing style.
Right. Yeah. And it's gotten to the point where where it's a very we have a lot of these conversations, especially now that we have a new head brewer. But it's what is everybody kind of feeling? What is everybody jiving with? Amongst all of the ownership and staff, and even the customers, what are they reacting to?
Who's the head brewer now?
Eric Van Tassel.
Okay.
He's come from. He was with Barlow's before, and then he's worked for a plethora of breweries, Fatheads, and
That's right. Okay.
all sorts of places. Him and his wife own Caps and Taps out in
Camas.
Yeah, we've been out there. We did a show out there.
Bottle shop, quote unquote.
Great.
Tap room, yeah, small. I think they have like 12 or 16 taps, so not a lot, but they do carry also a good size. I think we found
they have a good amount more than that now. Yeah,
I think they have more than that now, but I also know we found in their little cooler, their little fridge cooler, a bottle of Belching Beaver's peanut butter stout on nitro.
Yeah.
And they just carry some fun little things just in that little cooler, kind of about the same size that you have here. I do want to talk real quick. Oh, you were going to say something. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say in the past, you guys have been known at your Hazeldale location for food carts and Music Mondays and keg sales and collabs. Do you guys have a kitchen here? Like, what kinds of things can we expect from this location?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like been the biggest thing.
People love that stuff.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, for myself and Richard and Sherman, as we've been kind of like trying to like wrap our brains around this thing. It's basically, this place has a kitchen and is been operational as like as a restaurant for the last number of years.
Yeah.
And liquor license wise, it makes the most sense for us to operate a kitchen.
Excellent.
And so we were like, you know what, let's do it.
Nice.
It's something that we wanted to do. So Richard and Sherman and I predominantly come from like the bar restaurant world.
Right on.
And so we've always kind of known in the back of our heads that was our bigger strong suit, not necessarily like we were going to this brewing thing with like passion, but like we knew kind of like restaurants and how that operated.
Yeah, I'm more comfortable on that end too.
Yeah.
Well, there's just a structure and a flow when you know. I mean, it's hard to just go to a place that just has beer that doesn't have either a half kitchen or a snack bar or something like that, with the intention that someone is going to most likely spend more money and enjoy their time longer if there is a food option there.
And drink more alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if there's a full kitchen, or you have even just a built down like small snack menu that it's like, I think Final Draft is a great example of a small built-down snack menu. It's a couple of great sandwiches. It's a couple of 1-2 like switcheroo entrees that they put in, and then a snack so you can have. But it's easy, and it's still is like, oh, this is a great panini. Yeah, I'm gonna have another beer.
Yeah. And you guys love it when people hang out and enjoy your space.
Yeah. That's like just getting to know folks, getting on like a first name basis with our friends who are coming and grabbing a beer, like. That's the kind of like thing that we got into this for. It's just like the beer is definitely like the thing we love and that we're like really chasing and trying to do a good job at.
Yeah.
But like what keeps us like coming back to work and like super excited is just like just meeting all the people and like having a good time drinking a beer with our friends, basically. You know?
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's why we do this show.
Right on.
Exactly.
Exactly. We're hanging out and having beer with our friends.
Getting a little brew happy.
This is a great location. I'm sure with the space out in the corridor, especially in the summertime, maybe more music. You can definitely see just being able to fill that potentially with some guests, if that is something. I don't know if that's a open area
definitely.
that you. I do want to just go back, and I know it's a thing that we have talked about on the show. We've talked about it. If not, I think you did it. I think you've done it 2 years or 3 years. Is the Collabuary, and it is fantastic. And we're surprised by every year when you release the people you guys are doing collabs with, because some of them are not really local, going up to Bend or going up to Seattle. But even the ones who are, it's like, oh, I would have. They know them. It's like one of those things of like,
dude, I know.
You were with Stig. You did what with who? I mean, like it's like so. Talk a little bit about that process, because that is, I mean, we see people do collabs, but not like that, not back to back to back to back to back. What has that been like for you guys to be able to have that personal relationship in beer with multiple people real quick?
Oh man, like combination of like awful and awesome at the same time. like in the middle of it, if you came and talked to me and like end of December and all of January, basically, it's like, oh man, dude, I don't know why we do this. But
I understand that feeling.
Yeah. But it's super fun, man. It started kind of like in So let's see. So this is 23. This is our third year doing it. So
that's what I thought. Yeah.
So we started it in the first year we did it was that January and February in 2021. And so so it was definitely like so I knew so we were like kind of still in the clutches of COVID, trying to think of like, hey man, what's like some fun stuff that we can do. Collaborations have always been something that we've done kind of in the past. And so it was like, okay, how can we do some collabs that would be fun? And back then it was like, how could we do that in like a safe way?
Right? Yeah.
So let's bank up a bunch of collabs. We have the tank space right now. And we can like virtually collab with these people, write up some recipes, do a whole thing. We'll just brew them all here at our place. No big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
And then can it and then push that out.
Because that doesn't sound like it'll be stressful at all.
Yeah. Later when we have to brew flagship beers and everything.
Fuck.
Yeah. So that was great, and it was predominantly like our buddies here locally that we did that with, and it was a really good time. And then the next year came out. I was like, let's do that again. Now we can kind of reach a little further. We can go do some, but keep the basic framework still alive and improve on it in certain ways. Logistically for us mostly.
Yeah. Well, and that's you don't have to put it all in your kegs now. Let's go do over there.
Yeah.
Let's brew it over there.
Well, we always brew it at our place every time. Yeah.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's fun because it's like this thing that we have to accomplish, and so we have to start planning it early. We get labels going. It's a bunch of different artists. It's a bunch of different breweries we got to
labels on all by itself is just a whole different set of headaches,
and
you got.
But your guys' can work over the last couple of years, and it's just been phenomenal.
I really like it. Like, look, just the summer sidekick here, the raspberry sour ale that we're looking at. I love this beer, and it feels like I'm drinking the picture on the front of the can. It's a sun, and it's kind of got like yellow and pink things. Check our Instagram if you're listening to the show. I just took a picture, it's very much a summer sidekick. This is a great light effervescent beer, and it's fun can art as well.
Yeah, and that you guys push that same thought process through for the collabs because they were just fun, interesting. Some of them were a little weird.
Yeah.
Some of them were like, "Oh, do I want to open this?" And then it's like, "Oh, yep, never mind. I'm so glad I opened this."
I think like that's one of the best like gloves off thing you can do with both the brewers and the artists is for the most part like, hey man, like let's do something cool for this beer, whether it's but it doesn't matter because it's got these other beers that can help carry it along. If it's a dud, but like let's get crazy, let's do something fun, let's do something we wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah. Do you have over the last 3 years, and I don't expect you to remember every single beer style or with every single brewery, but do you have one of the ones that's the favorite? Not necessarily.
Yeah. Is there anything that stands out?
Not necessarily one that's still maybe in rotation like Oyo Como Va, but maybe one that we're like, we probably would never make that beer again, but I'm really proud of it, or it really tasted fun, or
Right. Oh man,
because there's some good ones.
There were some ones. It's funny, like I feel like my brain doesn't work that way with our beers. So when I think about that more of like, what did I remember some beers like we made an IPA with everybody's, and I remember thinking like, oh, that was really cool how that worked out. Like we used a new grain that Brothers Cascadia had never used before, and we had used some hops that like I was familiar with but I hadn't used in that application. And so like going like now thinking backwards, like those are the sort of things that I get a kick out of. It's like, oh man, that was cool how that turned out in the end.
Gotcha. Well, that makes sense, and I think that's like I said, the second year I felt, because we were kind of still in COVID, and I remember between John and I, John was going up there pretty much every Friday night, and that's
they were open.
Well, you were open
like every day,
and
we tried.
You never closed.
Yeah, it was very few
Other
times you
got
were closed.
Scared.
And you guys did some major renovations to keep people
safe.
They got heaters. Keep people coming. The whole outdoor seating. The food trucks did an amazing job all the way through COVID. And I know, I think it was last year, or maybe in the last year, but last year you guys got new tanks in there, which has been killer because now you can make more beer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a video on Instagram, and there's I think there's a video in a clip, and it's like they're trying to get it in this back door.
Oh, moving tanks. It's so dicey.
I was like, oh, how's that gonna fit in there? And I think someone said the same thing on the video, and I was like, oh, see,
there it went in.
There it is.
Yeah. Always think it's not gonna go in, but they find ways to get the tank in there.
Jason, what's on besides obviously this Horizon being the new location? Any collabs, any fun beers that we need to know about? Any cool events besides maybe the grand opening of your second location?
Or maybe you guys might be doing some brewing and blending back there in that brewing space in the back
that's
there.
gonna be fun.
Huh? What's going on with that?
Yeah,
Saw some shiny tanks back there still doing stuff.
Yeah. So this space that we're sitting in and we've been talking about came with a small brewery that's been kind of off and on functional for the last, I don't know. Like
Old Ivy
years,
used
maybe?
it as
Let's
a
say
pilot.
decade, yeah.
Old Ivy used it as a
way
pilot
over a
facility,
decade,
and back in Salmon Creek days in like 2009,
Right.
2010,
I was gonna say
that was their main thing.
I would say prominently last 10 years, but
Yeah, I don't know that it's been used for the last few years.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll have to find out.
I know it was during
love to
Old
know.
Ivy's days, but it was the latter of the years.
Those double jacketed fermenters are looking
Yeah, the
great,
last few
though.
years that they were open, he wasn't brewing as much. But I know he was doing a couple of one-offs because they would do things like he was one of the.
Are you talking about Chris Bolin?
Is that who was here at Old Ivy?
I think he was the brewer for a minute. I just ran into him not too long ago.
When they had the Brew Couver Pass, this was one of the stops.
Okay.
And I think he was still making beer every once in a while for the Vancouver Brew Fest. And I think once that took a kind of a hit right before COVID, if not at COVID.
It affected a lot of people.
It did.
Yeah.
I don't think he made a lot of beers after that.
Yeah, bummer.
But not the point.
But yeah, bringing us full circle, what are you guys planning on doing with that space and those equipment?
Yeah. So, I mean, at first we're just gonna kind of focus on getting this place open. Getting the kitchen going. It seems like a crazy thing for us at this point.
Of course.
But
yeah.
in the near future, man, once we get our feet under us, we're kind of thinking at this point is to start brewing cider out of the back.
There
it is.
I kind of felt like that's what you were going to say, but I didn't want to just jump to the gun.
Ryan wants a job.
No.
Oh, do you? Do you know how to make cider?
I do. But I don't,
All right, you got it.
Okay, perfect. I'm in. So,
Ryan is the new cidery manager in
for Brothers Cascadia on Evergreen Boulevard. Yeah.
All right. Hired.
I will say I always am super intrigued when I get to, first of all, see a process of how people make cider. I love watching even the people who don't necessarily like cider, just like I love watching the Two Towns process. I love watching the Bauman's process. Seattle Cider Company's been always great. I love watching that cider process in different scopes and views.
Bull Run's been good to us.
Bull Run's been really great. And I have such a love for cider far long before I ever made it, just because it's like that middle ground of having a soda and having a beer.
Mm-hmm. It's tasty.
It's so much fun. And then going through the process of making it and being able to blend out flavors and make flavors, I have such a respect for it. And because I know how hard it can be and making sure the balance is right, because you don't want to taste like sulfur. That's one of the biggest things is it'll come out tasting like sulfur. And you have to kind of throw
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, if you don't add your chemicals correctly, or you don't stop fermentation the right way, or there's a lot of variables, and so it can taste very sulfury, which you can then you can get out of there. But there's little tiny minute things on something people don't think about it, but that's why I love it so much, and I'm very excited if that is the direction you guys. Some beer, maybe some cider, but that would be cool. And I won't say that I won't come down and help out, but I don't necessarily need to. I don't know if you can circumvent my my paycheck right
Wife.
now. No, it's the paycheck. It's the paycheck. It's the paycheck.
It's all about the paycheck.
But I will definitely come down and throw
Work for free cider.
Throw some. Oh, absolutely. Throw some juice around. If you want some recipes, if you want some ideas, I have a ridiculous amount of shit because I was there not very long, but the guy and I that were making cider, I threw, I think, probably 30 to 40 different flavors, different series of cider, insane. Well, I made the one for my wedding, so you know all about that.
It was a very good cider. I actually really liked it.
It was a great cider.
It was fantastic.
But
what do you have? Yeah, what do you have planned, Jason?
For
cider.
Oh,
he's hiring me.
Man, yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah, he's sort of planning using apples.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I know they're going to use apples.
Yeah.
We're gonna hand foot mash them.
Yeah, try the apple thing.
I wish I had kind of more of a plan at the moment, but mostly it's been something that we've kind of tossed around before, and thinking like, man, this is like besides of course like we sell mostly beer, but if you look at the next best thing, it's like, man, we sell a lot of cider, and it's like it's cool, and you're starting to see other breweries dabbling in that, and a lot of different fun varieties coming out, and so this seemed like a natural option when we have plenty of beer brewing space at the other facility, and we have this like great, well set up fermentation cellar here that's just kind of on the smaller side. Yeah. That we could just like, oh man, we could make a couple different ciders. It seems like kind of just like a fun thing, and so time to start like diving into it and figuring out like what does it take to make a cider, like what we don't want to like just like dilly-dally and just like think like, oh man, this will be no big deal, just pitch some yeast and we'll be good.
You want to make sure you do it right.
It is definitely between the choosing of the apple or the juice, depending on where you're going to buy your juice from, the yeast. When we talk to Rev Nat on his new location, I even talked to him the second time about it, and I talked to multiple ciders about the yeast they use, and some people love to use wine yeast, and he's like, yeah, sure, great, but what the fuck?
He doesn't.
No, he's like, I use beer yeast because there's so much more option for a flavor profile, and when I was making cider, it was French wine yeast, and it produced a very bright kind of champagne-y like style of cider, which we then would sugar and put in fruit and things like that.
It's all down to the yeast.
But it was the yeast. And so when I hear people go, well, what do you use? I'm like, well, we use one of two yeasts, or we use like, and I'm like, okay, why? Because it definitely is going to make what I would think would be either a really great cider or just like a good, for like Rev, just a table cider.
Yeah.
Would you say that yeast makes more or less of a difference in cider than it does in beer? So, like, you know what I mean? Like, we know
That's
all
a good
the
question.
beer, different beers that basically are,
right,
focused around the yeast. So, but in cider, does that make as much of a difference?
I think the question isn't necessarily that, because the answer could be always yes, but it's about what you're trying to do with cider. Because if you're trying to have a lot of weird, funky, cool, different flavors with this giant array, then it wouldn't matter so much about what you were going with yeast, because you could just play around with it all the time. But if you were going to go with, I'm going to make 3 or 4 like standalone badass ciders, no one will ever know we made beer, then I would pick one yeast, and that would be the yeast I would use to make your ciders, and then you could flavor. But to answer the question, I think it plays just as much of an important role in making good cider as it does in beer, but I think that also is
your yeast selection.
Right, but I think that's also just important about the quality of the product you're selecting for your brew. The same would be how you select your hops, how you select your malt, water treatment. I mean, those are all going to be the same things that you would find in cider, but it's because you're only dealing with really one ingredient, which is an apple juice. The question then would be, what apples are you using? And then you kind of have to go
as usual.
Right. Well, not necessarily. A lot of great cider makers still use a combination, and a high combination percentage-wise of culinary over heritage.
Really?
Because heritage usually are going to have more of a bitter taste. Heritage apples are going to have not as a sweetness to them that's going to have to be added after the fact. So when you add in culinary apples, you're going to have a more sweeter value from your cider through the fermentation process at the end than if you were to just go with like just a standard like crab apple, which is you would never brew cider with, but don't ever do that. But you know what I mean? It's a lot of people have, and then they
crab
go,
apples make you crabby,
and then you go,
that's fucking horrible. But I think the point to that is it's just as important as the product of the apple, just as it would be the malt and the hops. But I think every cider maker is going to feel differently about the way they use yeast. I liked making cider with the French wine yeast because it had that champagne-y, nice, bubbly, fun notes, and it brought a lot of those brighter flavors of the apple up. But the problem is that it really left not a lot of room for us to have expansion and a wide range. But it's up to you.
What
I think
do you mean a wide range of?
Of flavor from just base cider. So having base cider and then flavoring it after the fact is how I predominantly made cider. And then, we kind of got through all that carbonation and everything to get a final product. So not having anything else to base it on never let us go, well, let's grow with the raspberry cider and let's put it with this style of yeast because it's going to be more of that fruitiness or whatever the case may be. I think being able to have, different variations of yeast, just the same you would with beer. We're like, well, yeah, if I'm making a total banger IPA, I'm not going to use this yeast because it doesn't have those citrus characteristics I'd like. Or I'm not going to use this yeast because it's better for a stout. Whatever that,
And using other fruits can change your water consistency as well.
That's true.
Strawberries are super watery, whereas, raspberries are a little more flavorful and
dense.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, we could talk about yeast for forever, but I think
I would love to.
Yeah.
If we're gonna make a product, we want to take our time with that and make sure that it's something that we can be proud of. And right now, it feels like the product that we're working on is this new location and the food menu that we're working on. And so,
what kind of food do we expect?
Yeah, you guys can roll out the cider later, but what we want to come here to eat
some Irish nachos. What's up?
Dude, I know. Yeah, so it's been kind of this like interesting thing. It's been a quick kind of turn, and so it's not. We've had. I mean, we've had many nights, couple of beers, talking about what sort of menu we would have, right?
Yeah.
But when it really came to brass tacks, what we're thinking we're gonna start with mostly burgers and steak sandwiches. That's gonna be kind of like the mainstay.
There you go.
We'll probably be running lots of like specials over the course of the first couple of weeks, just really trying to fine tune man, what are people really like driving with and really enjoying here at our space.
Okay.
There's going to be a couple of different appetizers, a kids menu, a couple salads, soup, you know what I mean, like kind of some of your basic like pub fare.
Sounds like John will be here more.
Yeah.
But burgers and steak sandwiches is kind of like the main gig. Ranging from like traditional stuff to like something that speaks to me. We've got a Korean steak sandwich on the menu.
I will say a good Korean, either sweet and spicy kind of.
That's exactly it.
Does that have kimchi on it?
Yeah, it's like a kimchi mayo and a bulgogi sauce for marinate on the steak.
I will say,
I can't wait.
all you got to do is first of all is buy some of the meat from Smoke and Oak down the road.
Which is great
and then
idea.
Bring it up here and get yourself a panini press and make me some Cubanos, and then I'm coming here all the time because
he won't ever leave. He'll
never leave.
He'll set up an office in the corner.
I tell you what, I am such a sucker for and I'm not just saying like a good, like a solid Cubano, like you handmade the mustard sauce. It's fresh pulled pork, it's fresh ham, it's got the cheese. The pickles got to be like you got to been like Dylan your own pickles, man. Come on. I'm a sucker for them because they're just so good, and the flavor is it's do that. There you go.
I'm surprised you don't like pickle beers.
You know what? They fucking are horrible.
I like them.
The only
He
one
doesn't like pickle beers.
the only one we've ever had
that you liked.
It was actually a cucumber beer.
Okay.
And it was from the Unipiper, Brian Kidd, and it was his first collab that he had ever done.
I remember that.
And that actually wasn't bad.
Okay.
That wasn't a bad beer.
Yeah.
It was different because it was the cucumber. You're like, no.
I remember that now. Yeah, you did like that one.
But John's pickle beer from Texas was foul and nasty, and he laughed the entire time he made us drink it.
I didn't even like that one.
No, it was horrible.
It was horrible. All pickled beers are horrible.
We are gonna take a quick break, but before we do, I just want to finish up with Jason, and you're not going anywhere. You're gonna hang out with us while we finish off the show. But when is this place opening?
Yeah.
Man, I wish I knew exactly when it was opening. We're hoping by the end of May, maybe early June.
Good luck on that.
Somewhere in there.
Everything takes way longer.
Exactly, and then you add a couple of weeks to that.
God,
probably.
yes.
Bureaucracy, you gotta love it.
So July 4th.
We're getting some good news from the Liquor Control Board as of today. So
That's
we
great.
think that's going to move forward. But other than that, it's just making sure we're like fully staffed, ready to go, have everything in place that everybody can have a good time.
There you go.
We are eagerly going to be following your Instagram and social media to find out when we can come down and have a beer and a sandwich.
Right on.
I will say I hope, because this is such a different space than your guys' original space out in Hazeldale. It's kind of smaller, and it's definitely not as high.
Well, lower ceilings.
Lower ceilings.
Right. It's a different building.
I'm really looking forward to see how you guys paint and decorate and motif the Brothers Cascadia. I mean, if there's not a big giant flag on this wall with a TV to show some Timbers games, I would be sorely remiss to come in more than once.
You already got speakers set up. I mean, you're in a good place.
Yeah,
You're in a good spot.
There's already
It's a
like
start.
a dozen TVs in here. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and
There are a lot of TVs.
there's a lot of. Apparently, that's all the patrons of the bar did.
I
was
think
just-
some of those are tap menus.
That's probably true too. I think that at least one of them is a sports TV.
All right.
Maybe that one at the end.
Well, for you sports ball,
Yeah, the Lakers
sports happy
Warriors
people
are
out
on
there.
that TV right now. We don't even know.
We don't know.
No.
We'll talk about the score later.
Hey Ryan, what do we got going on for our music pairing?
Well, it's music, and you're gonna hear it now. I'm keeping the vibe. So the vibe.
We're
this,
being ambiguous.
Yeah, the vibe this week is kind of a jazzy, slightly instrumental vibe, but just keeping it kind of fun and fresh. Being downtown Vancouver, just kind of a fun, cool atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of the chilled out. I mean, minus the homeless people.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool little vibe down here.
Well, we're in
so.
your y'all's stomping grounds here. I'm out of my element over here.
Well, you should make this more your element because there's some cool fucking shit out
I
here.
have been spending more time.
Yeah. We'll be right back with more from the beer happy, the brew happy, whatever. You get it. We'll be right back.
They know what show this is.
Fuck.
Hey, I'm Jason Boss with Brothers Cascadia Brewing, and you're listening to the Brew Happy Show.
I'm John Paul from Paul Cigars. Everyone knows I think craft beer is awesome, but so is my huge selection of cigars. You can get all your favorite tobacco products at any one of my conveniently placed locations in Beaverton, East Vancouver, and my headquarters store on Jansen Beach. Our wide selection and helpful staff will make your visit so very satisfying. You might even want to have a beer to celebrate. So come on in and check us out. For more information, contact us at paulcigars.net.
Hi, this is the Green Goddess of Portland, here to bring interior wilding to your space. Offering local consultations, weekly plant care, pest solutions, rare plant curation and sales. This houseplant hobbyist cultivated a worthy collection backed by knowledge and experience. And now I want to help you make your business beautiful. Contact Bronwyn, the Green Goddess, at greengoddessbotanic@gmail.com and Green Goddess Botanic on Instagram.
I'm Reverend Nat West, coming to you from my new tap room on 35th and Division, and this is the Brew Happy Show.
John, I need more beer.
Oh, yes! We're having so much fun here at the new location of Brothers Cascadia, which hasn't officially opened, but it will soon. And you guys, you know, when it does, we are going to fucking be here because we love their beers. We love the atmosphere that they have. The culture is just been so great. They've been too far out, though. If you haven't been out to Hazeldale, here in the Washington side, head out there, visit their tap room. It's really great. They have music
It's not
Mondays.
too far at all. I mean, from my place in North Portland, it's like 15-minute drive, 12 if traffic is good.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Not too bad. But if you want to not drive that far, you can come and visit their new location here by the end of August. That's when they're going to be open.
This place we're sitting here is
next January. They'll be open.
No, they're going to be open sooner than that.
July 4th.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I highly recommend you keep a lookout for their summer sidekick, which they haven't. You guys haven't released it yet?
Nope, not yet.
Oh, you heard about it here first on the Brew Happy Show, and as I said before, the can art is fantastic and it tastes great.
You guys self-distribute? No. Who are you with?
We are self-distributed in the state of Washington.
Gotcha. Okay.
To get into Oregon, which we do a couple times a year, we use Day One.
That's great. We love those guys.
Yeah, and they're wonderful with the sort of stuff that we do, where it's just poignant, temporary kind of releases.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, here's a couple pallets, kegs, or cans.
They will move it.
Yeah.
They will make it move.
And there's no pressure to be like, consistently supplying them with beer.
Yeah.
And so, but pretty much 95% of the beer that we're kind of selling out of house is,
There you go.
with our own kind of crew.
Very good. Before we go to the news, I'm going to propose here.
Propose?
I'm proposing marriage.
I'm already spoken for, but thank you, Ryan, for the thought. But you're taken.
I meant I'm going to pose a question to Jason. Put him on the spot a little bit because he can say no, he can say yes. But we do like to talk about spirits and in those cases whiskey. Do you have any problem with us trying some here on the show this evening with you?
Oh, no, I would encourage it.
That is great to hear.
John loves hearing that.
So with that being said, we're going to head on down the street to our favorite whiskey corner.
We're not doing news?
Guess me this
In a minute.
Later. Yeah, I got news too.
What's hotter than mustard and milder than cream? What best wets your whistle? What's clearer than crystal? Sweeter than honey and stronger than steam?
In a minute.
What can make the dumb talk? What can make the lame walk? What's the elixir of life and philosopher's stone? And what helped Mr. Brunel to dig the Thames Tunnel? Sure wasn't it whiskey from old Inishowen? So stick to the crater, the best thing in nature, for sinking your sorrows and raising your joys. And boys, I'd half wonder if lightning and thunder was made from the plunder of whiskey, me boys.
He is the sponsor of the show, John Paul of Paul Cigars, with 3 convenient locations in East Vancouver, Jansen Beach, and Beaverton. But he is the man with the scotch, the whiskeys, Sometimes the mezcals.
Thanks, JP.
Sometimes the rum. What do you got this week, sir?
Yeah, you got a red bottle and a green bottle.
So here's what I brought this week. I brought
these cute little cups.
A couple other things over there, too.
These are all related to the festival I'm going to in a couple weeks.
We want to hear about it.
Yeah, so this is the first festival I'm going to, the Campbelltown Festival.
Whoa!
So I brought an example of that from this is from 2020. It's a 14-year-old, and it's aged in, of course, bourbon barrels to begin with, but then finish in a tawny port finish.
Any relation to Bruce Campbell?
No.
Okay.
And this is in Glen Scotia in Campbelltown.
Okay.
Which you're going to be going to, right?
I'll be there the 24th through 29th.
When do you leave here? Next week?
15th.
Yeah. So in 10 days. 5 days.
5, yeah. No, a week.
13 days.
7
days.
7. So that's the first one I brought, the Campbelltown Festival.
Let's give that a little shooter.
There we go. And that's going to be a 5-day. It's a 3-day festival.
Oh, that smells.
5 days.
That smells great. Jason, how are you with whiskey? What do you like? What do you not like? Where's your palate at?
Oh man, I love whiskey in most of its shapes and colors, and
including the peat.
Oh, definitely including.
Oh,
I'm mostly excluding the extremely sweet,
cherry,
predominantly cinnamon.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, God.
Whiskeys.
Yeah, no Fireball.
No Fireball.
Not for like a lot of years. It's been a long time since I've had Fireball. And I think the last time I had it, I went, I hate myself.
That stuff is really bad for your kidneys.
Terrible.
Because it's like,
I believe it.
Yeah, it'll blow it. Yeah.
Here, you guys finish that.
half
There's the next
nitroglycerin.
one.
Okay.
All right, let's try this one. Here we go.
There we go. Try that one.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not peaty at all. Now
I
here's
like
what
this a
Campbelltown.
lot.
Oh, that's
here's what
great.
Campbelltown's famous for. So Campbelltown before
That's great.
1929 had 30 distilleries.
This is the one you just poured us?
And
The Campbelltown.
Uh-huh.
And had 30 distilleries and used to produce most of the whiskey in Scotland.
Oh.
Because most of that whiskey was shipped to America. But then when Prohibition happened, the 30 distilleries went down to 2.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Because they stick out at a point. It's very difficult to get to. And so it's a point because it's sticking towards America. But the rest of the places behind it is not easy to get to.
So they survived because they were one of the more convenient to distribute to America?
Up to 1929. Campbelltown. But so what's unique about this, here's what's interesting. So they have 5 areas of whiskey in Scotland. Lowlands, Highlands, Speyside, Islay, and Campbelltown. Okay, and most of these areas have, there's about 200 distilleries. Most of these areas have a lot. Islay has 10, the other ones have a bunch. But they only had 2 distilleries down there. They had Springbank and had Glen Scotia. And they went and talked to them and said, you can't be an area, a category, unless you have more distilleries.
So they opened more.
So Springbank changed their malt profile. So now there's 4 distilleries in the same building.
Oh.
But they all have a different malt profile. And when you come in, there's a sign, and they show you the malt profile for Springbank, for Glengoyne, for Kilkerran, and for Hazelburn.
I do love me some Kilkerran.
And so that way they were able to get 5 distilleries
stuff there.
theory in town. And what's so great about this festival is you pull into town, and you have to get your rooms 2 years ahead, because it's a very, very
Packs.
This town is like the size of Richfield. Okay.
Wow.
It's really small. But what's so great about it is when you park your car, you're within like 500 yards of everything.
I would say like the size of Kalama.
So like,
That's cool.
Yeah, all the bars, the distilleries, everything. In
Well,
fact,
that means Sue doesn't have to walk so far.
well, 5. Yeah.
That's
Well, if
great.
you walk it back a lot,
500
And
yards,
what we
but
learned
not
is
15 yards.
right next to Glen Scotia. What I love is right before you get to Glen Scotia, there's a laundromat. And so what we do is there are Airbnbs. There's
All
no
he
dryers.
cares about. He
There's
doesn't
no
care about
dryers.
anything about how he
So,
can wash
yeah,
his
right.
clothes.
You wash your clothes and you carry it. You drop it off at the laundromat, and then you go to this all day. Yeah, the way home, you get the laundromat, you get your clothes, and you go home.
How many times have you done this, John?
Well, this is the second I did last year,
Uh-huh.
and I'll be doing it again this year. Last year we were there 3 days. This time we're here 5 days.
So we're listening to the voice of experience here.
Well,
if you ever
I
plan
got
on
so
doing
lucky
this,
on finding the laundromat
this is the way you
last
want
year.
to do
The
it.
key is learning where your laundromats are in this world.
Because
you don't have to travel so much clothes.
You sound like
That's
a
true.
trucker.
That's true.
What is the next whiskey, for the love of God?
Okay, for the love of God, here you guys pour your own down here now.
Okay.
So this is Finladen.
Give me that Campbelltown bottle.
Yes,
Not
which
that
is
one,
a
the other
Finladen is a castle on Isla.
Yeah. Finladen.
And so they make it's an independent bottler, and they make their little here. Pour
Thank you.
yourself
Yeah,
a little.
thank you.
They make their little. And this one is not so. I brought stuff that's not so.
This is
peaty.
this is an Oloroso sherry butt, which is
No, that's yours. We're over here with the portwood finish. Against
Sherry
a
butt?
little lighter. You got the little heavier, but that's
I
okay. You
am-
could skip ahead there.
I am okay with skipping ahead.
Skipping ahead.
Take that, please.
So this is
ready for the flagon.
So
Finladen.
Finlagen.
That's a
Finlagen.
castle on Isla.
Yep. So this is this is gonna be
It's made an independent bottler. They sort of do their little special.
Yeah.
And these are different. One was 2020. What was
This is
year?
2022.
20 last year. So I got
Yep.
that there
Yeah. So
when I was there last year.
So one of the only 850 bottles filled from first fill Spanish Oloroso sherry butt. The mouth-watering dram is bursting with sweet peat smoke, delicious dried fruits, and warm spicy notes, robust and complex with a long smoky finish. Yeah, see, that's the other thing is I would much rather have a more smoky flavor than a more peaty flavor, and there's kind of a difference. I'm gonna try it right now. What are you drinking, by the way? Is that the other Finlagen?
I have the red Finlagen.
I have the green Finlagen.
You have the green one.
Oh, you can smell the sherry.
Take a picture of that one.
Oh, that smells amazing. Hold on, let me try it. Oh, Octomore, great job.
Oh no, the Octomore.
Okay.
Oh, that's for Jason. That's the peatiest.
Because he said Pete. He said the word Pete. So I bring the Octomore.
That's the peatiest whiskey you'll ever have.
Distilled peat.
Yeah, pretty much. What did you think of that first whiskey?
The first one was the Campbelltown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one, and the Finlagen. I've had the red label, and that one was really good as well.
Yeah.
Both really nice. That first Campbelltown gives you some of that essence of peat without being
very
crazy.
subtle.
So if you were gonna intro somebody to Isla malts,
Yes, absolutely.
or Isla, whiskeys. It's just
anything.
Hey, just here, get the sense of this twang and this smoke and this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny? Is I bring little bottles to bartenders and train them for beers and stuff. And on the peaty stuff, it's amazing how many females really respond positively to the peat, and how many males respond negatively to the peat.
Really? Why do you think that is?
Because women have better tasters.
I would agree with that.
That's probably true.
Right?
I agree. I love that stuff.
I always go like, God, this is so weird. Why would you like the...
I think the other thing, too, is we're so, because we weren't, and maybe this is a reach, but we weren't raised here in America, especially this generation. We weren't raised with having this kind of alcohol around. We were having.
Oh no.
We were cheap beer, cheap whiskey, cheap things that didn't have complex characters.
I never got whiskey in my stocking.
No, neither did I. What the fuck? But Germans do. What the hell is that about?
So at Ellsberg, I used to take a gallon jug down to the Last Chance Tavern, and for $2 get it filled with Bud.
Wow.
Budweiser.
What?
And what we do is they stew a gallon, right? Well, we found these 4-liter apple cider jars.
What?
That are actually bigger than a gallon, but they sort of look like a gallon. And for $2, the problem is that when I lived in the dorm, first year went up there, and I was like the only person over 21.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of trips.
Yeah, of course.
I will say that
and it's a little more than a gallon.
A little more than a gallon.
So it's a little extra sips, some extra sips.
Jason, what do you got? What's your what's the
The
nose?
Rosa one.
Yeah, I'm onto that green label
greenie.
one.
The green
I'm
label
not
is
doing the
great.
green label.
No, you should. It's great.
Should I?
It's smoky.
Okay.
And John was outside, but I was telling him how I really love the smoky over the peaty because the smoky has such a different characteristic.
It does.
And I like that. That's a great.
It's harder to find smoky than peat.
It is. And
much
that
harder.
with
10 to 1.
Well, with the X sherry in there, the first fill sherry, and having that smoky flavor, you get a little bit of sweet, and then you get that nice smoky coating all the way back down. Man, that's a stellar whiskey.
So these guys
God,
don't
so
mean to
good.
be peat, right?
No.
But the problem is they use the water from Isla.
So it's going to have some.
It's got to have peat in it because all water has peat in it in Isla. There's no choice. There's no trees. There's no bushes. There's only peat.
There's barren
Really?
wasteland.
Yeah.
It's a
swear
barren.
to God.
It's a barren wasteland.
You think here's bad weather? The wind blows all the time. That's why no trees or bushes grow.
Makes you want to be a Viking, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's horrible. You think
But then they make great whiskey. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's so depressing
salty.
to look
That's
at.
why no one lives there.
Let me tell you something about that green labeled Finlagen that I just tasted. My lips and my chest just went straight out.
Yeah.
You need a bra now is what you're saying?
And grew hair.
Yeah. Like I think I have hair in places I didn't previously.
And you're carrying an axe now? I'm not
I
sure
know,
how that
I'm
happened.
I'm not normally a hairy guy, but I feel hairy.
I'm good. Don't pour me.
Oh, you know
don't.
what? Just
don't.
a tiny bit.
I don't
Just
want
the
any. I
tiniest.
don't
That's
want
like a little
the
bit.
octomore.
I have to trim my beard
I
again.
swear to God.
Whatever's
I know
in
you
that.
got eyebrow hair.
I
That's
felt it grow.
Hazy.
your
bottom
eyebrow
layers.
hair is
Wow.
curling.
Wow.
So this Octomore is the most recent one. It's the 13th version of it, edition, which is this year.
yeah.
And then they do a 0.1, 2, 3, and 4. And the 0.1 is a barley from eastern Scotland because that's where they grow 90% of the barley. Okay. Number 2 is same mix, but in the first one's only in bourbon barrels. Number 2 is the same mix, but put in sherry barrels. Number 3 is used with barley from Isla. And they put this in
that
opaque,
peaty water.
right in the everything's in the peaty water. The others are all in pitch black bottles. And then they make it a 0.4. The 0.4 is the original blend in a virgin French oak barrel, which I actually prefer, and they're really hard to get. Those.
Meaning like untoasted or
No, not toasted, just never used.
But in nothing else.
Virgin, whereas almost everything in whiskey is sent to a bourbon barrel to begin with. Used bourbon barrel for America.
To begin with,
like everything.
We're just throwing them away.
Well, because see, you can only use the bourbon barrels once here.
Right.
So we have excess, so they use that, and the initial thing is always just throw it in the bourbon barrels. And then from there, we can pick stuff and put it into buy other barrels and maybe put that in there, some of those in
like
there.
these Portwood. And,
And that. But
tawny
everything,
port finish.
when they're making it and they're cranking it out, they're just throwing it into generic bourbon barrels from America.
There you go.
To start, and that's how they build their inventory. And then from there, they can go, okay. They date them and stuff, but then you can do stuff. But here's the thing: the barley. This is barley made from Isla. Mm-hmm. The problem is it's so wet on Isla that the barley mutates every couple of years. So they can't use the seeds because the seeds mutate. So they have to replant the seeds from eastern Scotland because they mutate for the freaking. You think this is bad weather here?
And they just start over.
They start over. You just take the seeds and instead of, sometimes they allow some of the field to grow, farrow to allow the seeds to reseed themselves.
Oh, right.
Right. They just cut everything and they just go get new freaking seeds and throw it down.
Well, the nice thing about that, too, is that you get, every once in a while, you'll get some weird little propagates that'll happen and little collaborations of the spores that will combine and kind of make some newer flavors, some newer growings.
Mm-hmm. I think that's how we got El Dorado.
That's 100% how we got El Dorado.
Dorado's awesome.
Yeah, it's probably.
What'd you think of that?
It's one of the best.
Peaty enough for you?
That's a fun way to end that little whiskey flight.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Because it just punches you right in the face.
And
the key is about whiskey. You have to do it in the right order.
I like it. Just like beer.
Yeah.
Right?
Just like beer.
Right.
Just like beer, food, wine, whatever.
That's why we call JP the champion, because he is the chief champion connoisseur.
That was a wonderful.
He's got it all figured out.
Before we go, we do have a couple of beers that Damien brought from your adventures over the weekend.
Oh my God.
So we had a really great week.
Where was he?
After last week, we were at Wayfinder with Natalie Baldwin. And then a little bit later that week, I got to hang out with Mark Gillette, and he's got some projects coming up that require my expertise. More on that later.
Hello.
That's Mark Gillette from FH Steinbart's. And then B and I went to Montevilla Brew Works this past week.
Oh, Michael Cora. We
yeah.
gotta go get over there and see him again.
Yeah, so while we were in the Montevilla neighborhood, you might have seen the post up on Instagram. We also stopped by Threshold and had the Neptune Baltic Porter.
Yeah.
But there is a little something that we also enjoyed that we brought back for all of you.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I got one for each of you guys.
You're so nice.
So this is the Threshold.
Just go ahead and pass it on down there.
Tart chocolate dipped plum ale, a dessert-inspired sweet and tangy treat.
Plum
6%
decision.
Alcohol, guys.
I will not be opening it right now.
No. This is for you to take home and enjoy.
Oh, thank you.
We got 4 of them?
Yeah.
Well, you need to take home 2 for you and Broadwood.
We already drank ours.
Oh, look at that.
This is for you guys.
You can drink mine.
Okay. You're not going to drink it?
No.
All right. Well, that's good because I wanted one of these cans to go.
Exactly.
To
your friend.
I'll tell you in a second, because we went to Imperial Bottle Shop for Revenge of the 5th.
Uh-huh.
And we were watching some Star Wars. We dressed up.
It's Revenge of the 6th.
It was on the 5th that we were there.
All right,
and
did he bring baby oil with him?
No.
Okay.
Jesus. So there was a raffle.
That's later, John.
And I entered every one of our Patreon members in the raffle and took tickets for them.
Oh, that's great.
And
That's nice of you.
Guess who won?
That dude.
Yeah,
I know
you
that guy.
did.
No.
You probably won. You
I'm not a
cheating
Patreon
bastard.
member, and I already
Someone
have.
named like Ryan. Everyone who wins is named Ryan.
Oh, no. It's Ryan Finn is our Patreon
you're
member.
Right. Again, it's Ryan
and,
again.
And Ryan has won himself an Imperial Bottle Shop and Tap Room hat. For you, and we're gonna make sure that gets to him.
Yes.
And I'm also throwing in one of these delicious Threshold Plum Decision beers. So,
congratulations,
sounds
congratulations.
fantastic.
Yeah, and that's just the kind of thing that we like to do for our Patreon members here on the Brew Happy Show. I hope you've been listening this long and have been enjoying the show. We also saw a Timbers game with JP.
We did.
I
was there.
Yeah, we got to go to Loyal Legion, and we were right behind the goal line. We saw some great shots.
Yeah, we were right there. We see half the game fantastically.
Yeah, half the game fantastically. It was great.
Right?
And-
Would you rather see half the game fantastically or the whole game so-so?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right?
Yeah.
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 we know.
We know. We all know. We all
Beer mongers.
And also, you can get hit there. It's pretty cool, too, if you don't pay attention.
That's true. Yeah,
Jesus,
yeah.
no,
we
thank you.
there was a ball that came our way,
Oh, yeah.
and somebody else snatched it up. They
I've
got
seen
the
many times someone not paying attention and getting caught.
20 feet from us, somebody snatched up a game ball. I was so jealous.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Don't you know who's in the stands?
Well, we were. And so I also spent the weekend at Beer Mongers and Fracture, both of which I have news of. Fracture wants us back for a follow-up next month.
Perfect.
And
Did you
our
bring
very
a
own
sleeping bag?
Yeah. No. I
You
didn't.
said you spent the weekend there.
Well, I mean, not all weekend, but I definitely popped in both places multiple times.
Oh.
You
You shouldn't have brought a sleeping bag.
Our very own Green Goddess Botanic is having a pop-up at Beer Mongers on Thursday,
There
this
you
Thursday.
go.
Wow.
So there's
It's a great
gonna be
space for her.
Yeah, she's
That
going to be
is.
doing some plants there since Beer Mongers is unable to sell alcohol for this week.
What the fuck?
Something happened
Someone
paperwork-wise.
fell behind on the paperwork.
And so they had a temporary. All they did was move from one location to another. But instead
Someone
of
fell
just
behind on the
changing the address on their permit, the OLCC made them reapply for a whole new permit, which
Yes.
takes an extensively long time.
Jesus
That
Christ.
happens on everything.
Yeah,
When
and it
I moved
lapsed-
my tobacco stores, you
Yeah.
have to reapply like you're brand
It's
new.
just
Like
ridiculous.
you've never been around
Yeah.
ever before. If
So,
you change address.
There's a week gap in the permit
Yeah,
and
right.
between the temporary permit and the new permit that's coming, and so Beer Mongers wants to stay open because that's their thing. They love staying open every single day of the year,
Yep.
and
This could be a false opening streak now.
And so every day this
Now-
week they're having different events.
Now they can't sell beer, right?
They can't sell beer.
Can they give it away?
They can do tastings and things like that.
That's called giving it away.
Well, Kind of.
I would do. I don't know. I would do. Everyone gets one free can over 21.
I don't want to speak for them on
Damn
that.
it.
OLCC regulations
You
mean
can't do
if
that,
you are
yeah.
open, you cannot pour one single drop of alcohol.
I know. I was just seeing how far you get Damien to.
Yeah, I'm
make
not,
up some bullshit.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to talk my way into a corner, guys. But nice try.
So free beer at Beer Monger.
Right.
is what I heard.
For a week.
I heard it's just sitting out there,
but only one per person.
So yeah, check out Beer Mongers on their social media for more about what's going on with them, as well as Fracture, who will be on the show next month. And then
Really, I'm missing Fracture. I'm missing the Polish Pilsner.
Well, I
just you'll when you
we
come
haven't
back,
locked
it'll
down,
be here.
We haven't locked down a date yet.
Oh, so that means it'll be way longer.
Maybe, or not.
Where are we at next week? Because that's the most important.
Yes. So next week we have.
Are we with? Are we at Living House next week, or are we at?
We are at Living House next week.
Damn
and
it.
We are with Matt. I don't know Matt's last name, but I know he spells his name with one T, not two.
Matt.
Oh, so you don't want to step on him. Is what you're saying.
That's right.
He's not a doormat.
Don't
guys.
tread on me,
Hey, all right.
motherfuckers.
Hey. Let's be respectful of our people and friends in the industry.
Hey.
Conrad is not able to make it because, unsurprisingly, he is traditionally shy of the mic.
You know what he'll do?
Yes, he is.
He'll sit at the bar and drink a beer and go.
Yes.
Which is wave silently.
Him and his amazing hair and long limbs will just be spotting us from
He
far.
is pretty good looking. You have to admit.
Not a bad looking guy.
Yeah, not bad looking.
He can make he can make a good beer. I've seen it.
I lived with him, and he tidies up after himself. So
he grooms well,
I
is
can
what you're
vouch
saying?
for him as a person and as a brewer.
I will say though that there was that weird, kind of fun little like carved out part of the ceiling where his head got just rubbed across it for many years. So
He's
that
very
yeah,
tall,
he is
yeah.
tall.
So there was that. Never got our deposit back on
No.
that. But hey, Living House next week, and beer fans out there, you got to come over to Vancouver and check out Cascadia Brothers.
Cascadia.
Brothers Cascadia. Sorry, I keep wanting to do the Super Mario thing.
Super Cascadia.
We get that. We get that all.
I was a big.
You guys
Mario
are
fan.
the Brewing Brothers of Cascadia.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Brothers Cascadia is located in Hazeldale. They'll soon have a tap room here where we are sitting in the downtown location. Check out their social media for that. Jason, have I missed anything else? Where else can they, the beer fans out there, find out more about Brothers Cascadia?
Well, Brothers Cascadia has an OnlyFans that you can check out. There's a lot of details there.
Naked kegs.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. Just Instagram, Facebook, man. Just check out whatever.
Sweaty glasses of beer.
Oh man,
There you go.
Ugh.
Glistening.
Oh, there's a lot of ideas out there.
Beer porn.
But yeah, just the normal Brothers Cascadia Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, we got all that information coming.
Right on.
We'll be releasing all the information for the new openings and releases and all that we got
Coming up in the next month or so.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, anyways, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
And any beers you want to talk about coming out the barrel before then?
Yeah.
Man, we just released a bunch of new ones. The summer sidekick, this raspberry sour that we were talking about.
Big fan already. Right here.
We're super excited to release that this Friday. So it was like the May 12th.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, raspberry sour ale got a little bit of raspberry. A little bit of vanilla to go along with the raspberry. Makes it really nice and jammy. Acidity is not so high that it's enamel stripping. And then this one's a fun one we do with Fosterful. We do a beer with them every year about this time. They are an organization that works with foster kids, and so they help out with those foster kids that are newly in the foster system or they're working their way through the foster system, and so they help them with certain needs such as I mean, backpacks, suitcases, clothes, just the things that foster kids aren't typically getting.
I had an older brother that was a foster kid, so that speaks to me. Thank you.
And
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, we just anything for those guys. The Fosterful, they're just a wonderful organization. So
cheers to that.
Awesome. Make a beer with them every year, and this is this Friday will be the release of the one that we're making with them. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. They've got a big soiree that folks can attend if they want to.
I love soirees.
There's
not enough soirees happening these days.
We really need more soirees.
Yeah. Parties.
There's gonna be parties and food and exactly.
And more from Brothers Cascadia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we look forward to your guys' new location, more beers, some cider potentially down the road.
Oh yeah.
So
you're hired, by the way.
Thank you. I'm more than happy to help. Just you guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing it good. And thank you again for coming on the show.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
As always, beer fans, I don't just like you, I love you. And I want to have a beer with you. Until next week, keep brewing. But brew happy, especially if you're going to come to Vancouver and have a beer at Brothers Cascadia. Cheers.
This production is brought to you by Brew Happy Media, the ultimate brewers media resource. For more information, go to thebrewhappyshow.com and brewhappypodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Brew Happy. For more cigar pairings, please check out our sponsor, paulcigars.net. Questions, concerns, advertising, or guest relations, please reach us at brewhappypdx@gmail.com. Remember, brew happy, drink responsibly. Cheers.
John, I need more beer.